Hey class, welcome back. I wanted to go through some of the things that are due this week, week 31, as we get into our hybrid teaching schedule. I want to be real clear with the students like what's due as far as turning in and what should just be in your notebooks, and a little bit about where we've been and where we're going this week. So let's jump on in. We started the week with owl pellets. You may or may not. Hopefully everyone that's watching this was able to do the owl pellet dissection. Remember, owl pellets are the regurgitated remains from some owls. When they can't digest certain rodents, parts of the rodents that they've eaten, they regurgitate those parts. And when we collect the owl pellets, which have all been sterilized and cleaned for use in class, if you want to pick up a couple more of these, if you want to do, there's a few more left in my classroom right here. Come on by, bring them on home so you can share this dissection with, say, a little brother or sister or something like that, because it's very, very cool. I'm going to turn my camera down for just a second so I can show you some of the bones that were found in one of the pellets in the class that we had here. Everybody had a sheet that looked like this. They had some of the things that you might have found in there, bird, mole, shrew, rodent, etc. This right here is the results of one of the students in my class having done a fantastic job of pointing out what they found. You can see the rodent skull right here. Not only does this go along very, very well with our study of ecology and habitats, also goes on extremely well. It goes along extremely well with evolution when you're talking about the same structures in different animals, the same bone skeletal structures that are seen, for example, across mammals. From rodents to blue whales to you and me, we have the same bones pretty much in the same general connection in the same places, obviously different sizes. And what we're talking about when we're looking at evidence for evolution is this right here. You can see the exact same bone structure. So we started off our talk in class today with a little current events like we usually do. In current events from about 2 days ago on CNN 10, again, I really encourage you to check out all of CNN 10, at home. I know that they use it in other classes. I just use a little bit. And in this class, we talked about the second wave, unfortunately, of coronavirus is going on in India right now. Remember, the U.S. Census just came out. They do the census every 10 years so they can figure out the House of Representatives, among other things. And in America right now, we have about 300 million residents in America. In India, you're looking at more than 1 billion people living in the country of India. Really difficult when you're talking about that kind of population density to control a pandemic and to control a virus like coronavirus or respiratory illness like coronavirus. And then also remember, these viruses, like part of their job, if you will, is they mutate. They change a little bit. There are some strains right now that are going around that are much more contagious. Very, very difficult to stop this. And that, again, gets back to our social distancing and our mask mandates here in America. Very, very important. This right here, and I want to be really clear as far as the assignments, this is not due to turn in. This assignment right here, these questions that you see after you do the reading from page 220 in the textbook are review. These are questions that go along with things that we've had previously in class. Things like the law of superposition, where you look down a bunch of sedimentary layers in rock, and as you go down in sedimentary layers, generally the fossils get older as you go down, as long as the sedimentary layer hasn't been flipped. And if you're looking at the law of superposition, again, it goes along with the bones that we saw in class here in person, or you might have seen at home. It is a fantastic piece of evidence for evolution where you're looking at the bones of different species changing over time as you go down. It puts together almost a book, if you will, of the way species have changed over time. Huge piece of evidence there for evolution. So that was a little bit about what we did in class in terms of current events. The other part behind me, this screen here, which again will be shared online at the blog, pacificascience.org, and also in your Google Classroom. This is due. When is it due? When you can get it in. Were this a normal year, it would be like an end of the week type assignment, and I suggest that you shoot for getting it done on Friday. But remember, my personal feeling is that with our unique online and hybrid schedule, I do not want to take away points for something that's late. So again, I am encouraging you to get this done before the end of the week, but if it comes in at the end of the first or second week of May, that's fine. The total end time for when anything like this can be turned in, of course, I've had it on the notes before, is the end of May. But again, my personal feeling is that with connection issues, with people traveling, with a very unique environment like this right here, I'm talking to a screen, I don't want to take points away if something's late. So, it's a good exercise really in managing our time. Let's check out some of the questions that are up here. We watched a little bit of a Tim and Moby on natural selection. They talk there about homologous structures. If you can't remember what they are, look it on up. Remember, those are same structures in different species. How does the law of superposition, fossils, the fossil record on sedimentary rock, give us evidence for evolution? A map. We talk a lot, of course, about Darwin. In the 19th century, Darwin traveled along the HMS Beagle. Great name for a ship, by the way. When did he do that? I'm not asking for like a piece of artwork on everywhere he went in a perfect sketch of the world. Just in general, a sketch. Where did Darwin go? He didn't write up his theories and his ideas until he got back to England. So it's really cool to check out that this entire theory was put together based on his incredible observation skills, which is great. And then finally, bird beaks. We talk a lot about finches in particular. Bird beaks, gave Darwin one of his major ideas about how structures change over time to fit their environment. So do check that out about the finches. We'll go into that in more detail in class. Finally, the last one down here is an opinion question. That's why it's got the little asterisk. Why do you think teaching about evolution has sometimes led to actual court cases? We talk, for example, about the Scopes trial. Less than 100 years ago in America, there was a teacher in Tennessee arrested and fined for teaching about evolution. Why would somebody get arrested for teaching about a theory which is backed up by mountains of evidence? So it's something we want to think about. It's where science and our social realities kind of come together. When you're looking at your bone sorting chart right here, this one was what came with our very, very excellent owl pellet dissection. And one of the big points that Dr. Guccione made when she walked us through the owl pellet dissection about never, ever, ever using poisons to try and get rid of, say, mice and rats. Yes, they're rodents. Yes, they sometimes can carry disease. They definitely are bad for things like crops. But at the same time, if you're using poisons, say, to get rid of mice or rats, the rats or mice will get sick for a little while before they die from the poison. If an apex predator, say an owl, a raptor, even a coyote, comes along and eats that rodent, well, now you've poisoned the owl. Now you've poisoned the coyote. Definitely something we don't want to do if we want to have a healthy habitat. We do not want to accidentally poison the apex predators. Right here, I've pointed out the red-tailed hawks that are constantly swooping around on our field at IBL. They pick off the gophers, they pick off the moles every once in a while. They definitely picked off the rats. And it's one of those things that make an environment healthy, is being sure that there's apex predators that take care of things like the rats, the moles, things like that. If you want to do something great for the environment, look up some plans and I'll post them online on making an owl box. An owl box not only gives an owl a place to live, but it will take care of the rodent population in your area, because when the owls have a place to live, they're going to immediately look for food, and especially if they have a nesting pair in there, they will look for food, and the food that they're going to eat will be those annoying rodents that we're trying to get rid of. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. Don't forget the assignments that are out there online. Have a great week 31. We'll see you at week 32 as we race through May and one more month left of school. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.